A mysterious woman named Hyun Yap sits alone in her dark apartment, her windows covered with cardboard, leaving only a small slit to peek through. Outside, she spots a man sitting in a car with several glowing red lines stretching from his head, each one representing someone he's slept with. He tries to lure a schoolgirl into his car, and across the street, a woman vaping also has a few red lines coming from her head. Hyun Yap wears sunglasses even indoors, believing some things in life shouldn't be seen. Since birth, she has been cursed with the ability to see strange red lines, also known as S-lines, invisible connections between people who have been intimate. When she was a child, she used to draw these lines everywhere. One day she drew her family with her aunt, and the S-lines of her father and aunt were connected, meaning they had slept together. Her mother discovered the drawing, went mad, killed her husband, and ran away. Since then, Hyun Yap has lived in isolation, wearing sunglasses to avoid seeing the lines. Knowing the danger of these S-lines, she avoids people and wonders who created them, and if anyone else can see them too. She's tried to end her life many times, but each time she fails, as if God is toying with her. Detective Han, a notorious womanizer, is secretly having an affair with a colleague who's about to get married. He takes care of his orphaned niece, Sun-ha, who becomes the target of bullies at school, led by Hae-young, the ringleader who accuses her of reporting them to her uncle for money. At a new crime scene, Han investigates the mysterious death of a woman. Her body looks clean, no signs of assault, and her money and valuables are untouched. Witnesses mention a man wearing a helmet who was seen with the victim before she died. Han senses something is off. Hyun Yap, watching the news, notices something strange. A man with a helmet who only has one S-line, something extremely rare. Later, she spots him again outside her apartment and, thinking he's the killer, prepares to call the police, but then sees him hugging and kissing a woman inside the house. Right before her eyes, a new S-line appears, connecting them. Sun-ha skips school and secretly asks her uncle for money to pay off the bullies. When Han gives her cash, he notices bruises on her arm, but she refuses to explain. Later, she tries to steal money but fails. Han, who lives across from Hyun Yap, notices her windows covered with cardboard. His colleague mentions a strange emergency call from their area about the helmet guy, so Han decides to check on her. When he knocks, Hyun Yap sees him covered in countless S-lines. She hesitates but opens the door briefly, saying she made a mistake calling before quickly shutting it again. That night, the helmet guy shows up at her doorstep, staring through the peephole, terrifying her. At the police station, Han discusses the case with his colleague, but before they can continue, he gets a call. His father has gone missing. Han rushes to the hospital, finding his father on the roof about to jump before nurses save him. Meanwhile, his colleague investigates the helmet guy's house alone and gets attacked. The helmet guy ties him up, then heads to the woman's house. From her window, Hyun Yap sees him but can't call the police because her phone battery dies. She grabs a knife and, for the first time in years, steps outside. Weak and anxious after being indoors so long, she collapses on the street. The helmet guy reaches the woman's house and strangles her, but Hyun Yap stumbles in with the knife. He disarms her easily and stabs her. Across the street, Han notices Hyun Yap's door open and rushes in. Inside, he sees her strange board full of red strings, then spots the struggle in the opposite apartment. He fires his gun, shooting the helmet guy before he can stab again. As he collapses, the man mutters about the S-lines disappearing. Hyun Yap realizes his glasses might have allowed him to see what she sees. The helmet guy has been arrested. Later, she receives a text from an unknown number, someone claiming they can also see the S-lines. Having stepped outside for the first time in years, Hyun Yap is torn between fear and curiosity, wondering if she should find out who else shares her curse. At school, a new teacher named Kyujin arrives, driving so slowly that students end up pushing her car. Sun-ha, one of the students, secretly wonders how many of her classmates have already had sexual experiences, believing the real number is higher than what's officially reported. She, too, has a red line. Meanwhile, Hyun Yap cleans up her apartment and removes the cardboard covering her windows. Back at school, Hae-young humiliates Sun-ha by reading her love letter to her crush out loud, and when Sun-ha tries to fight her, Kyujin steps in to stop it. After being scolded, Sun-ha gets ready to leave and finds a mysterious pair of glasses in her locker. At the police station, Han still feels uneasy about a recent murder case, even though the helmet guy has already been arrested. He revisits the suspect's apartment and finds a wall completely covered in red lines. That night, Sun-ha puts on the glasses and is horrified to see a S-line floating above her own head. When Han comes home, she screams after noticing countless S-lines over his head. Running outside, she realizes everyone around her also has these S-lines, and finally understands what they mean. The next day, she wears the glasses to school and starts observing how the S-lines connect people. She laughs when she sees her teacher Kyujin has no lines at all, still a virgin. But soon, she spots a forbidden link between her teacher and Hae-young. Then, Hyun Yap suddenly transfers into their class. Still investigating, Han notices the helmet guy's glasses are missing from the evidence and learns that he used to work as a teacher at Sun-ha's school. When he visits the school and asks Kyujin if the man ever wore glasses, she denies it. Later, on the school rooftop, Sun-ha is attacked again by Hae-young and kicked to the ground, but Hyun Yap intervenes and threatens Hae-young, warning she'll hurt her if she bullies anyone again. That night, Han visits a bar. The helmet guy often visited and learns from the bartender that he always wore glasses and would sometimes fight with customers while mumbling numbers. He was counting the S-lines above people's heads. That evening, Sun-ha sees Hae-young entering a hotel with a teacher and quickly takes a photo. When she sends it to Hae-young, the girl replies that the teacher will get punished, not her, since they're still minors. So Sun-ha starts thinking of another plan. The next day, that same teacher receives the photo along with a blackmail note demanding 20 million won in cash, without knowing Sun-ha sent it. On her way home, Sun-ha dreams about using that money for her own apartment, hating her uncle and wanting to live alone. But Hyun Yap admits she envies her for at least having an uncle, while Sun-ha wonders if her mother is still alive, something Hyun Yap doesn't know. That night, Hyun Yap looks through her window, watching her neighbors happily together with their families, and feels jealous. Meanwhile, the teacher who got blackmailed pretends to scold Hae-young and brings her to the gym, demanding to know who's behind it. Hae-young tells him it's Sun-ha. Not only that, but Sun-ha has also blackmailed another teacher about his affair for money. Now, she starts befriending the same students who used to bully her. In the restroom, Hyun Yap notices Sun-ha wearing the same glasses the helmet guy once had and realizes she can see the S-lines. She warns Sun-ha about the danger, revealing that she can see them too, but Sun-ha ignores her, determined to keep using the glasses for revenge. When she asks how to make the S-lines disappear, Hyun Yap lies, hiding the truth, that they only vanish when someone dies. Soon after, Sun-ha starts hanging out with a boy, but Hae-young secretly overhears her talking to Hyun Yap about the glasses and steals them. Then, she sees the S-lines, feels a sudden thrill, and straight away knows what it is. Thinking Hyun Yap took them, Sun-ha accuses her angrily. Later, the teacher agrees to hand over the money, and Sun-ha goes to meet him at school. He tries to make her delete the photos first, but suddenly, his wife sends him the same picture, exposing his affair. Furious, he accuses Sun-ha of sending it, but she denies it. Just then, Hyun Yap arrives, only to witness a horrifying sight. Sun-ha falling from the rooftop, still breathing but severely injured. Sun-ha is rushed to the hospital. When Han arrives, Hyun Yap is already waiting outside. He asks why they were at the school in the middle of the night, and Hyun Yap explains she was only looking for Sun-ha since she said she was going there. She insists it wasn't a suicide. The next day, one of the teachers doesn't show up for work, and the rest of the staff panic over Sun-ha's incident. During the discussion, another teacher, Jong-woo, casually mentions that he's no longer getting married after someone asks about his wedding date. Later, he heads to his sister's place to stay for a week before moving to Canada since he plans to resign soon. At the hospital, Sun-ha lies unconscious on a respirator while her uncle keeps watch. Meanwhile, Hyun Yap quietly investigates at school. She notices a student wearing glasses that look like Sun-ha's and suspects him, but can't confirm if they're the same since she can see without them. The students also notice that Hae-young is missing. Then, Jong-woo finds a similar pair of glasses at his desk and tries them on. He's shocked to see S-lines above people's heads, especially the countless ones over Han, and immediately knows what it means. Han meets Kyujin to ask about Sun-ha, then questions Sun-ha's date, who seems careless and unbothered. The date mentions that Sun-ha ran off after realizing something was missing. Han checks the CCTV footage and finds Hae-young taking Sun-ha's bag and going up the escalator while wearing the glasses. Meanwhile, Jong-woo tells his sister and brother-in-law about his ex-fiancée cheating with his friend, which caused their wedding to be cancelled. Later, while hanging out with his brother-in-law, he discovers the man is secretly having an affair with someone else in the same building on the 4th floor after accidentally pressing the wrong floor. To confirm, Jong-woo presses the 4th floor again, and as the door opens he sees his brother-in-law's S-line connected to someone inside the corner apartment. At the police station, Han's superior wants to close Sun-ha's case as an attempted suicide to please the school board, but Han refuses to let it go. At school, Jong-woo observes strange connections among the teachers and realizes one teacher is having an affair with another. He knows Kyu-jin is a virgin and asks what she would do if someone close to her was being deceived. She says she would confirm it first, but would still want to expose it to everyone. One day, a parcel meant for someone on the 4th floor ends up at his sister's apartment, so Jong-woo takes it to that neighbor. Suddenly, that neighbor arrives, and he hides, overhearing her talk sweetly with someone over the phone, which makes his suspicion grow stronger. Instead of telling his sister, he opens up about their late father's affair and how it affected their lives, saying he can never forgive infidelity. At school, a photo of Hae-young and the missing teacher spreads among the students. Soon after, that teacher is found dead from an apparent suicide. Han investigates and finds the note suspicious, realizing the body had been moved to the parking lot after death, meaning someone killed him. Later, Han picks up Hyun Yap to talk about Sun-ha's case. She tells him to find the glasses, promising to explain once he does. Nearby, Jong-woo spots his brother-in-law, who hasn't come home for days, driving somewhere and secretly follows him to a hotel. There, he sees him dining with the same woman from the 4th floor and giving her an expensive gift. Jong-woo calls him to distract him and catches a glimpse of the hotel room key on the table. He follows him upstairs and confronts him about the affair. The man claims he'll end it that night and return to his wife. The next morning, Jong-woo searches for the woman's name on social media and finds her Instagram, where he discovers she's pregnant with his brother-in-law's child. Panicking, he rushes home and finds his sister crashing her car into the woman's. When the brother-in-law shows up, he runs to the woman instead of his wife. Enraged, Jong-woo attacks him until his sister stops him and reveals the shocking truth. She's actually the other woman in the relationship. The wife turns out to be the woman from the affair, completely unaware of his double life. But the truth is, his sister is not mentally stable. At the station, Han studies the missing teacher's suicide note and suddenly remembers Sun-ha's drawings. He rushes home, finds her notebook filled with sketches of glasses and red lines, and shows it to Hyun Yap. She confirms that those glasses reveal the S-lines, connections that expose people's hidden affairs. Hyun Yap explains how the S-lines work, and even though it sounds insane, Han keeps asking questions, like whether more than one pair of glasses could exist. As they talk, he imagines how painful her life must be, seeing those lines everywhere she goes. At Hyun Yap's school, an assistant teacher named Mi-song, wearing glasses that look like Sun-ha's, gets scolded. During lunch, she tells her coworkers her dream is to become an actress, while they silently judge her. Later that day, she puts on a wig and heads to the motel where Hyun Yap is working part-time. Hyun Yap's friends drop by to hang out just before the disguised assistant arrives, and they recognize her as school staff, finding it strange why she checks in alone. Meanwhile, Han continues digging into Sun-ha's case, still trying to figure out who pushed her from the rooftop, replaying how her personality changed after finding the mysterious glasses. He informs his coworkers about the glasses, though it sounds crazy. Han's colleague notices he's no longer flirting with any women, and deep down, Han secretly has a crush on Kyu-jin. He also reviews an old file about Hyun Yap's father's death, how her mother killed her father after Hyun Yap drew red lines over her father and aunt's heads, and he starts to believe what Hyun Yap says. Later, Han asks if Sun-ha has an S-line. Hyun Yap confirms she does, but Sun-ha wasn't S-line connected to anyone in her class, and she doesn't know who he is. While watching TV, Hyun Yap notices another murder case. This time, the suspect is wearing glasses similar to Sun-ha's, making her wonder if there could be another pair. After school, her friend Jun-sun invites her to a local pool. Out of nowhere, she jumps into the water with her clothes on, and afterward, they share ramyeon to warm up. She opens up about the S-lines, and Jun-sun believes her since she has no reason to lie. Mi-song, however, secretly has a huge crush on a music teacher at her school. She tries to flirt with him, but he's not interested. At the motel, Mi-song often returns alone, requesting the same room every time. Inside, she practices the same acting line. "I've had many men as lovers in my life, but ever since I saw you, having intimacy with strangers couldn't fill my empty heart." Again and again. She spies on people in the next room through a peephole using her glasses. One day, she sees her crush hooking up with an actress in the next room, and jealousy consumes her. After overhearing their plan to meet again, she extends her stay. The next day, after the actress leaves, Mi-song ambushes her, knocks her out, and ties her up in her room. Wearing the actress's dress, she visits her crush's room pretending to be the actress, but he immediately recognizes her. She repeats her acting line, holding a stapler in her hand. When he calls her crazy and tries to leave, he suddenly collapses. It turns out she spiked his drink earlier. She drags him onto the bed, kisses him as he lies unconscious, and suddenly blood starts to flow from his head across the bed. Mi-song panics. Later, she sits in the bathtub, stabbing staples into her arms, legs, and even her face, until she dies. The actress escapes and runs into Hyun Yap, begging for help. Hyun Yap enters the room to find the man dead on the bed and Mi-song lifeless in the tub, surrounded by blood. When Han arrives at the scene, he notices there are no glasses anywhere. Hyun Yap tells him that the glasses make anyone who wears them feel special, without exception. Han drains the bloody water in the tub and finds the glasses at the bottom. Unable to resist, he puts them on, and immediately sees all his S-lines. Han reflects on his life, realizing he never wanted much, just freedom and no commitment to anyone. Yet he's been Sunha's guardian for years, since both of her parents passed away. At work, he wears the glasses and starts noticing the S-lines among his colleagues, even discovering their secret affairs. Curious, he drags Sunha's last date to the hospital to visit her, but he's shocked when he sees there's no line between them, making him question her past relationships. Meanwhile, Hyun Yap chats with her friends who are planning a birthday party for her, but suddenly receives a message from an unknown sender who also invites her to a birthday party. The next day, she's shocked when one of her classmates, Ji-na, appears to have 4 S-lines. Han investigates a report about Ji-na's sexual assault, that she went drinking with Han Yu, passed out, and later realized her panties were inside out, confirming she had been assaulted after claiming she was a virgin, but there are 4 S-lines above her head. Han heads to her school to investigate, noticing that many students have S-lines except Kyujin, who's still a virgin. The detectives question Han Yu, the main suspect, but don't get much out of him, saying they're close because they used to train together as K-pop idols before both quit. On her way to school, Hyun Yap spots Han wearing the glasses. He says he's testing them, but she scolds him for using them carelessly, warning that the glasses are linked to recent crimes and could be dangerous. Suddenly, Kyujin steps in to stop their argument, and Hyun Yap quickly leaves. Before leaving, Han awkwardly asks Kyujin to dinner but immediately takes it back. As he walks away, Kyujin smiles, revealing that she can see his S-lines. Later, Han visits Ji-na's former entertainment company, where the owner says she was fired for being lazy and often led other students into drinking and hanging out with boys. On the way back, Han's colleague jokes that they need a lie detector for this case since it's hard to find the real culprit, which gives Han the idea to use the glasses to his advantage. The same colleague teases Han about liking Kyujin, but he denies it. Back at the station, Han's colleague questions Han Yu again, checks his phone, and finds that Ji-na liked him and was the one who asked to meet for a drink, even though Han Yu ignored her. Then, Han interviews Ji-na and her mother. He asks why she deleted her messages with Han Yu, washed her panties when they could have been used as evidence, and only reported the case a week after the accident, suspecting she might be lying. When Han Yu is about to leave, Han opens the door to see if Ji-na's S-line connects to him, but finds no connection, confirming she's lying, so he drops the investigation. At home, Hyun Yap waits for Han while trying on the glasses, wondering whether they are dangerous or useful. Han mentions Ji-na's case, saying she's lying about her assault, but Hyun Yap reveals that Ji-na didn't have any S-lines the week before, and now suddenly has 4. Hyun Yap feels that Han found the glasses because someone purposely wanted him to, so she returns to the motel, unaware that Jun's son has secretly followed her. When he approaches her, he gets scared and accidentally hugs her, and she kisses him afterward. After learning this, Han reopens the case and rushes to Han Yu's home. Everything looks spotless, but the bed sheets are brand new, so they search nearby donation bins and find his old sheets stained with Ji-na's blood. When questioned, Han Yu insists he didn't harm her and blames his friends, but CCTV footage shows that while he went to the convenience store, 4 students went to his apartment, and their S-lines increased by 1 after they left. At school, Hyun Yap spots 4 boys connected to Ji-na through S-lines and immediately calls Han, but he's already there. Han arrests the students and pressures them until one confesses. They all played a role, claiming Han Yu drugged Ji-na and planned the assault. Han concludes that Han Yu was the mastermind even though he didn't personally touch her. Afterward, Han drives Hyun Yap home, saying the court will handle the rest. Suddenly, he gets a call from his father's hospital. His mentally unstable father has gone missing again. Han drops Hyun Yap off and rushes to the hospital. Checking CCTV, he sees a woman leading his father into a taxi, suspecting it's Kyujin, the same unknown person who sent Sunha's photo. He races to Sunha's hospital, asking his colleagues to dig into Kyujin's background. Inside, he sees Sunha's S-line suddenly curving toward the door. To his horror, his father walks in. Han freezes, realizing the unthinkable. His father has sexually assaulted his niece, Sunha. Enraged, Han beats him until he breaks down emotionally. Meanwhile, Hyun Yap is seen covered in blood, desperately calling Han for help. A woman sits in a cafe when she suddenly receives an intimate video of herself. Later in her university class, everyone's eyes are on her as her intimate video spreads across the university. That night, she hides under her blanket, crying as her phone keeps buzzing with threatening texts. Overwhelmed, she steps into the street, ready to end her life. But Kyujin saves her just in time and gives her a pair of glasses the same as Sunha's, pretending that she found it on the street thinking it's hers before leaving. Meanwhile, on Hyun Yap's birthday, she waits for Jun's son at the bus stop and asks him for a favor. It turns out her favor is for him to make out with her, so they end up in a hotel room. Even though both are shy since it's their first time, they still do it. And after that, she notices an S-line connecting them. Then, he goes to buy cake for her birthday. Hyun Yap is excited to see her S-line but suddenly sees her S-line vanish and hears chaos nearby. Jun's son is found dead with metal rods impaled through his back. Feeling cursed, she breaks down, believing everyone close to her ends up dead. Soon after, she gets a video showing her school friend tied up, with a creepy happy 17th birthday message and an invitation to a place called the Room of Boundaries. Scared, she calls Han for help. In the car, Han is lost in thought about Sunha's twisted S-line when Hyun Yap interrupts, explaining that someone has been counting down to her 17th birthday and demanding something from her. She shows him the disturbing messages. Han begins connecting the dots. How she was tricked into going to school to meet Sunha when she fell from the rooftop, how he ended up with the glasses, and suspects that it's all connected, believing Kyujin is the one who pushed Sunha from the rooftop. He discovers her teacher, Kyujin, doesn't actually exist. They rush to the school, heading to a classroom lit up at night. Hyun Yap finds her tied-up friend, who says Hyun Yap had messaged her to meet at school while it's not her who sent it. Han misses Hyun Yap while running and can't find her. Hyun Yap and her friend try to escape, but every time they take the stairs, they end up on the same floor, trapped in a loop. Meanwhile, Han also runs to the roof, sees one door with a warning sign, and opens it. Suddenly, he's in a different place that is dark and filled with people murmuring about being blessed to meet her, while they wear glasses like Sunha's. One woman explains that the glasses gave her a new purpose to live, believing what Kyujin says, that God will forgive her sin of adultery if she erases one S-line each time she kills someone she has slept with. She lifts her knife and kills the last man she slept with. Then Han sees Kyujin appear, numerous S-lines pouring out of her head but suddenly disappearing. She shows Han's father to him tied up and bleeding and gives Han a blade, asking if he wants to save Sunha. Instead of killing his father, Han tries to stab her, but she grabs the knife and kills his father instead, saying normal humans can't kill her. She is the leader of a group that works toward a strange rebirth where everyone can see S-lines, turning their belief into something that feels like a cult mixed with the supernatural. When Han shoots, the bullets deflect when Kyujin walks toward him and grabs his neck. On another rooftop, Hyun Yap realizes her friend is wearing the glasses. Anyone who wears the glasses will actually be possessed and have the urge to kill others, and her friend starts attacking her. They struggle until Hyun Yap smashes the glasses, bringing her friend back to normal. But Hyun Yap's eyes have changed color. Her blood drops rise upward, which leads her to the same place as Han's with the crowd surrounding Kyujin. Kyujin throws Han off and reveals that Hyun Yap's ability to see S-lines from birth is a blessing, and that it's all because she will do something important now, that with her death, she will let everyone in the world see S-lines without glasses. Kyujin raises a sword, ready to kill her, but Hyun Yap's mother jumps in to protect her, taking the blow. Before dying, she confesses she once had the glasses too, and tells Hyun Yap it's not her fault. It's revealed that her mother saw S-lines between her father and her aunt with the help of the glasses. Hyun Yap is about to confront Kyujin but gets stabbed by her sword, and her blood floats in the air, turning into glowing droplets. She rises, S-lines exploding from her body toward a ball of red light, then spreads red lines across the sky. As she's lowered down, Hyun Yap stabs her, but Kyujin says it's too late. The ritual is complete. The glasses worn by everyone shatter, and chaos spreads as people see red lines in the sky. Suddenly, Han, Hyun Yap, and her friend find themselves on the roof together. Han's glasses fall as the world below glows red, and now everyone can see everyone's S-lines. They panic to learn this. Time passes, and on a quiet day in the subway, people now wear sunglasses as if it's normal to avoid seeing the S-lines over strangers' heads, just like Hyun Yap did before. Hyun Yap says she finally feels ordinary. Sunha wakes up from her coma, reborn without an S-line and smiling again. Han goes back to his normal life, now more protective of his niece even though he gets stares from strangers for having too many S-lines above his head. Hyun Yap, however, is alone once more. She visits Jun-sun's grave, and just when she thinks it's over, a familiar voice calls her name. It's Kyu-jin. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Craving K-dramas or K-movies? Get your bite-sized fill at Recap Dumpling.